Hello everyone, my name is Lily Archive. Today I'm going to be doing part 2 of reading Josh's sentencing letters and reacting to them 2 years later. Now, I do have a part 1 posted. You can watch part 1 if you want, but it's definitely not required to watch this one. Last time we looked at Anna's letter to the judge, as well as Paul Waller's, Michelle's, and a few others. So let's just jump right into it. Okay, so the first letter I want to cover today is from his father-in-law, Michael Keller, aka Paul Keller, as he's known on the internet. Now, this is a letter written in handwriting, actually. It's not the best, so please bear with me if I stutter through this, because I don't know if I'll be able to read it very well. But, a little background on Paul Keller. He's definitely highly involved in prison ministry, so he's a little bit more chill with Josh's issues as a father-in-law than maybe most would be. I think he's probably also in the camp that doesn't quite believe that this was Josh. So let me just jump into reading here. Hello, my name is Michael E. Keller. Okay, fancy. And I have served as a volunteer in the... he's going to talk about his prison stuff. As a volunteer in the prisons of Florida for over 25 years, I am Anna Duggar's father. My wife and I have been married for over 41 years. Okay, flex. I have known Josh Duggar for over 14 years. I've spent a lot of time watching Josh's character over the years. Yeah, I bet you have. He is a very gentle, kind, and polite to everyone I've seen him in contact with. Okay, girl, obviously he's going to be putting on his best face in front of his father-in-law, please. I have never seen him blow up in anger. I feel most people don't blow up in anger in front of their father-in-law, especially one that lives 300 miles away or whatever. I have seen Josh many times go to the extra mile to help keep peace with others. For example, one day I saw him talking to a man that bought a truck from him 2 years previous with no warranty. The man's transmission went out on the pickup truck, and he asked Josh to help him with the bill. I couldn't believe what I heard. Josh said he would pay half of the transmission bill. Well, that's just stupid, if true. Dear Judge Brooks, please be merciful to this young man. Girl, he's old as hell. That was rude. He's not old as hell, but, he's too aged to be acting like this, Dear Judge Brooks, please be merciful to this young man that has a wife and 7 children that love him and need him. As I was saying in the other video, yeah, he has 7 children. Keep him away. He is truly a fantastic daddy, and he truly loves his family. Sincerely, Michael E. Keller. I feel like he really didn't say much here. He really did not say much here, honestly. I mean, he gave one story. That's not like David Waller. David Waller was giving examples now. David Waller wasn't fucking around. All right, this is not a super interesting letter. Let's move on to the next. Okay, so next letter is by Nicole Buress, who her husband also writes a letter, but she is one of Jim, Bob, and Michelle's neighbors, who I guess would subsequently then be Josh's neighbors because Josh was living on the property at the time. I think it's interesting they chose her. She goes into a lot of detail. This letter is 1, 2, 3, goes into the 4th page long. I find that interesting. And goes into a lot of detail, gives a lot of insight, and a little anecdote that definitely is often referenced on Reddit. But she goes into a lot of detail, so we're going to jump into that right now. Dear Judge Brooks, I understand that you have a sentence to adjudicate. Is that how y'all say it? I don't know how to say it. For Joshua Duggar, and I wanted to write you to share my family's personal interactions with the defendant in hopes that you may show mercy in your sentencing. I want to share with you what I see about Joshua's attitude of serving others, the children he raised, and his impact in ministry despite hardships. I wonder what those hardships are. Please go into detail. Just kidding. We are neighbors of the Duggar family, and our back goat pasture adjoins their cow field. I didn't know they had a cow field. What the hell? And our little town, the entire Duggar family, is well known for being service-focused. I don't know how true this is, but I've heard otherwise, that they're kind of not known to be, especially in business, kind of people don't want to deal with them, but I could be wrong. That could just be people shit-talking. Though they don't brag about their service, we often see that after a national disaster, the Duggar family, including Joshua, quietly step in to help those in need. I mean, I guess John, I guess they're talking about Medicorps or maybe perhaps another ministry that they do or are involved with. We often see that after a national disaster, the Duggar family, including Joshua, quietly step in to help those in need. When there was a tornado in Joplin, Missouri, Joshua went out to help. He has traveled, and I wonder if that was with Medicorps. It doesn't matter, but he has traveled internationally to serve poor and needy communities. I guess when they go to El Salvador. However, his service isn't limited to tornadoes in third world countries. He quietly helps families and individuals in our community in a myriad of ways. Girl, I've probably given to that damn widow. My husband, a financial advisor, was counseling an older widow around 3 years ago regarding her financial situation. Oh my God. During that private meeting, he learned that Joshua Duggar was sending this widow a regular and large sum of money to help with her and her son's monthly expenses. He had known their story and felt compassion for them. When someone needs assistance, Joshua and his wife sacrificially step in to meet the need. I have met people to whom he has given cars in an effort to assist them financially. I've heard people gratefully share this information, though Josh himself would never boast about it or share the information at risk of embarrassing anyone. Girl, unless it's in these damn letters. If you were to attend a Duggar family get-together, you would not pass through the home without Joshua introducing himself, learning your story, and humbly attempting to help you with whatever your situation requires. If you were to step through the doors, you would often find him expertly playing hymns on the piano if the room is empty or connecting with people if the room is crowded. He would then be the first to jovially greet you with a big howdy. Does he say howdy? He would come over to talk and ask questions to get to know you better. He attentively listens to people's hurts and struggles and attempts to resolve them. When he is unable to meet a need, Joshua is the great connector. And she says that in quotes like it's his nickname. He listens to people intently and then seeks to introduce them to the one person who can best care for them. We have seen this countless times and have witnessed his service on more than one occasion. Okay, and this is where she gets into the story that's often talked about on Reddit. When I was pregnant in early 2020, I contracted COVID and began early contractions. I visited a local hospital where the masked doctors stood at a considerable distance or gazed at me through thick glass before sending me home with instructions to pick up anti-diarrheal medicine to stay hydrated and keep the contractions at bay. The only challenge, in the early pandemic days, all pharmacies and groceries were closed by the time I was discharged, and I was unable to purchase any over-the-counter medication. By 2 a.m., my contractions were 1 minute apart and intense. I needed medication and knew that the hospital was offering me little assistance. Oh my God. Despite the unreasonable hour, my husband called Joshua Duggar, woke his ass up. She didn't say that. And asked if he had any anti-diarrheal medication to assist me. After searching his medicine cabinets top to bottom, Joshua found the medicine and then offered to drive it over to our home in the dark hours in the morning. I mean, girl, you just said that. Well, I guess the judge doesn't know. I guess Joshua's also their neighbor. It's not like he trekked from like their old house 20 minutes away. He's literally, going from the, the warehome as they call it, over to their house. But whatever, it doesn't really matter. Before 3 a.m., Joshua had willingly risked exposing himself to a pandemic disease that everyone feared and that I was miserably suffering from. I just don't think he was scared of COVID, especially. I just don't think he was. I just can't. Can y'all fathom him being scared of COVID? Even though my gowned doctor stared at me behind the door, Joshua drove to my door to compassionately hand over medicine to ease my dehydration and end my contractions. My baby was safely born at term because Joshua stepped in that night during a most humiliating moment and did it without a second thought. I feel like most people would. This is crazy. Like, my baby's alive because of Joshua Duggar. As a former pediatric nurse, I have had exposure to thousands upon thousands of children, and I've learned that you can tell a lot about a man by the children he has raised. I think sometimes that can be true. I think that sometimes I've seen many cases where it's one parent doing a lot of the work, for sure. We can't say if that's probably what's going on in this case, but who knows? I've seen children who are abused. Oh my God. who have cruel parents. I have seen children who are insecure, who have critical parents. I have seen children who act out, who have absent parents. I have the unique opportunity to see Joshua and Anna's children up close, as they are my children's closest and favorite friends. What I evaluate in the Duggar children as a former pediatric nurse, what I witness in these children as a mother of 8 children myself, is remarkable. They are the most cheerful, funny, delightful, respectful, bouncy, well-behaved, thoughtful, adventurous, and inquisitive children I have encountered. Okay, so we're only like halfway. Actually, no, we're almost done. No, we are halfway. Sorry, halfway into this letter. And they've already given more detail about Josh than like his mom did. I think that's just really interesting. Maybe she wanted to keep it brief, though. Let me be charitable. Back to Josh's kids. They don't just speak respectfully in my presence. My children report how they are honorable and private when they are all playing in the pasture. They are the type of children who ask permission before staying for dinner. Yeah. And then compliment the vegetable meal they may not prefer, to consider the needs of others. They tell clean and hilarious jokes and stories. I mean, where are they supposed to be learning dirty jokes? Somebody needs to teach them cuss words, apparently. I'm kidding. I'm just being critical for no reason. They are active and creative and often tell about what they saw or did with their dad that taught them something new about the world. As a nurse, as a mother, I see that reflects on Joshua. Kids don't typically and naturally grow into amazing, productive members of society unless they are cultivated, nurtured, educated, lovingly disciplined, and adored. Joshua has been integral in that process with his children, and his children are a testimony to his character as a man and as a daddy. I wish they would stop saying daddy.
Love me, daddy.
You say daddy so funny.
How?
Say daddy 3 times.
Daddy.
Daddy.
Daddy. Daddy.
You know you're saying it funny.
How should I say it? Say it. I'll try and repeat how you're
Daddy.
saying it. Daddy.
Yeah.
That's how you say it?
Yeah.
Daddy.
Well, yeah. Daddy.
It's a weird kink you have or something because you're making me say it so many times. You're like, say it 3 times. Say it again.
You're literally walking around going, daddy.
That is the name of the
I know, but it's the way you say it. Ian.
I really do wish they would. But I think, I don't know them, but I would say that Josh, his children are likely those things in spite of him. I really hope that all of that is true about his children, but I think that it's probably in spite of his influence. And who knows, Josh can do all these things, be present, help people, but he can still be going and doing arguably one of the most evil acts on earth in private. And I think that's, she's talking about the kids, they even act great in private. Josh is not acting great in private. So it seems like all of this is fake. Or maybe exaggerated by these letter writers, I don't know. But that's kind of my thought about kind of all these letters, is it just seems like, oh, Josh is great, but what he does in private is just so terrible that I just feel like that reflects more than what he's doing for a widow or what he's doing raising his children, Joshua was a tremendously involved father who usually had a child at his side while he worked. If he was driving a big construction truck by our land, he'd honk and wave with an older son proudly waving along behind a seatbelt. If you stopped by the car lot to say hi, Joshua would have his 2 little daughters and his wife spending time with him, just for fun. He was a man who chose to be involved in his children's lives, even during work hours, even when it made life more difficult, even when it wasn't convenient. Though we live in a culture where daddies are distant and distracted with personal pursuits, it seems like he was distracted by personal pursuits. And now he is distracted in prison because of his personal pursuits. But anyway, Josh's life pursuit has been raising a delightful family, and he has been diligent to raise extraordinary children. Those children are deeply grieved by his absence. And whose fault is that? And I urge you to give the children the hope they will see their daddy soon. Finally, I want to speak to you about Joshua's relationship with his Savior, Jesus, and how that is even displayed during his life in prison. Oh my God, this is good. This is good shit. Stay tuned on this one. We have maintained contact with Joshua and Anna during this difficult time in their lives. When Joshua was first put into jail, he shared a room with a man who had destroyed his life and needed hope. Girl, so did Josh. Joshua shared with him the good news about Jesus' death for him and told him about becoming a Christian, a new creation. The man was converted and his life dramatically changed. When he was released from jail, his wife commented that she had been praying for him for years and was amazed to see what a completely different man he was because of what Josh shared. Because of Josh, my baby is alive, and this man is a good husband. His alcoholism ceased. He became involved in church. He had peace. Wait, I forgot about this part. That man passed from COVID just 6 weeks afterwards, but his family was left with the knowledge that they'll see him one day in heaven, and that is because of Joshua. I feel like that is something that Josh made up. That is actually really funny story. I just don't think that that's a true story at all. And, pardon me if it is. Or maybe this man was trolling Josh. Also, just a question for y'all that are more familiar with, the federal prison system, but are you allowed to even contact your fellow inmates that are still in prison once you get out? I know that Gypsy Rose was, allegedly going to get in trouble for that. And I don't know if that was, a specific part of her parole, or perhaps it's pretty standard across the board, but I'd be interested if anybody knows the answer to that. Let's continue. I ran into Anna at church the other day. She was accompanied by a young woman with 2 sweet children, one infant in a car seat and one by her side. I asked if she had a spouse with her. Her husband was in jail. Joshua had been speaking with her imprisoned husband that week, and he had connected this woman with Anna in our church, even from his jail cell. Josh continues to be engaged in ministry to others, even while locked up, even when everything has been taken away. Okay, that one seems more like something that happened, just because this woman claims that she talked to this woman, but that also to me is weird. I don't necessarily know that I'd want to be hanging out with my my husband's prison friend's wife just for the safety of my own children. That just seems very odd, and maybe that's judgmental of me, but okay. Anyway, I understand that none of that religious information may mean anything to you. Oh my God. And that's all right. I'm not asking you to understand what a relationship with Jesus looks like. I don't know. This just feels like talking down, if this dude is an atheist or whatever. But I do ask you, look at the character of this man. Even when he is at his most horrific time in life, he is reaching out to others to serve them. He is a cheerful and encouraging presence to all around him. In fact, I was at Anna's house on a Saturday night a few weeks ago when Joshua called. He devastatedly shared that there was a man who was verbally threatening and abusive to him every time he passed his jail cell in solitary confinement. Yeah, girl, it's probably because you've been accused of consuming material of a child being violated. That's probably why. Joshua was discouraged. I hope he was. And prayerful. But just days later, the man... This is another one that is on Reddit a lot. I forgot about this story. But there's no way this one's true. I think Josh is trolling here and just making shit up. The man approached him to apologize. This hardened criminal stated he and the other men knew that Joshua was innocent. As inmates, they recognize that sometimes innocent men are in prison, and they were so stunned by Joshua's character that they were convinced of his innocence. That is just so stupid. It reminds me... Okay, wait. I want you guys to let me know in the comments if you think that that story is true. And that reminds me, it's vote red if you think it's true, vote blue if you don't. Did you guys feel bad for me in that episode? I hope y'all know what I'm talking about. I feel like I'm not making any sense right now, but I'll play a clip.
Silly. Guys, what y'all think of me crying in the episode? Did it touch y'all's heart? Let me do a quick poll. Did you feel it when did you feel red? Yes, you felt it. Blue, no. When I was crying in the episode, did your heart go out to me? Red, yes. Blue, no.
But vote red for that's a true story. Vote blue if that's not a true story. Anyway, you do not need to be convinced of his innocence. I know that decision has been made, and I only humbly implore you to consider the life and character of this man. Girl, you're saying like you know that he's been convicted as guilty, so we know his character. I just don't think that you can have good character and then be guilty of viewing material of a child being hurt, especially in such a violating way. Like, it's like, that's so weird to me. Consider Joshua's service to others, consider the type of children he's been raising and how that reflects upon him, and consider his impact in ministry, even when enduring this situation. Most people don't have the type of character, even without undergoing the most massive stressor of their lives that Joshua Duggar has. He and his family are not typical of what this world has to offer. They are better. So you're saying that this man who is, once again, this man who is guilty of watching a child be violated is better than what this world has to offer, is better than the type of people that this world has to offer, like the general public. Please allow Joshua the joy of continuing in ministry to his family and our community as you consider the duration of his sentence. Well, it seems like he can do ministry from behind bars, so why not we keep everybody safe and he can do his ministry in there. All right, moving on.